Hi guys, long time no see. It's been a while that I've had the time to sit down and film a video. So I've been back at work for 2 weeks now. Feels like I've been working for 2 years after vacation. So the vacation is only a dream long gone. And on top of being busy, I've been super exhausted. But what inspired me today, I was messaging with lovely Candy from Candy Soul and Soil, and I've been talking to other fellow tarot tubers also, and I love it, guys, that you guys care and even, send DMs and WhatsApps and call and whatever. So much love. It's been needed and really appreciated. And then I thought that during all this time that I've been working, exhausted, too tired to practically do much at all, and feeling uninspired, then I thought that what in my practice has kept me inspired all the time? And I immediately picked up the newest deck that I've got, my Tarot de Marseille that I've just recently did the mod video. And this deck got me thinking, because I've been using it every day since I got it and did my deck mod and all the things I did with this deck. And if you're curious to know more, I'll link the video so you can see the deck mod on this. But then this deck got me thinking that I never thought that I would fall in love with a Marseille deck, like ever. I just didn't jive with the art style, and first I was a bit iffy with the whole pip decks. And then I started to think, what are all the decks that have surprised me the most, that I didn't expect liking, and they ended up being massive favorites? A little spoiler alert, no big surprises coming here, but I just thought that I would want to talk about something that is making me happy every day and share it with you guys. So when I started with tarot, I was a Rider-Waite-Smith girl through and through, and I thought that I would never read with anything else. I got several editions of Pixie's art decks and then several clone decks, and I was perfectly happy with those, and I thought that why change? And especially I didn't feel like getting a Thoth deck, like never ever. I just thought that no, it's not my job. And now, as many of you know, I have a ton of Thoth decks and I'm happy about all of them, but it was the greenie that changed my mind. It was the feeling of this deck, the weight, the cardstock, everything about this deck. And then when I looked through the images for the first time, I just was mesmerized, and I got into all these massive rabbit holes that all we Thoth geeks know about. It's an endless swamp. But I never thought that I would end up getting, 16 or something different versions of the Thoth deck. But still, the greenie, it is the one that stole my heart. But I never thought that would ever happen. Then after me getting into Thoth, I kind of checked out all the Thoth clones, but they didn't jive with me. I never got any of those, and only Emma Maline's decks, and those I like. But then the second deck that surprised me a lot was Cilla Conway's shimmering veil, because when I first saw this deck at Kasia's channel, tarot map, and I thought that, yeah, that looks interesting. I want to get me something, you know, to see if it works. And I thought that I would never be able to connect with this art style. But then with this deck, when I got the shimmering veil done by Silla Conway, by the way, if I forgot to say it, I felt the art coming alive for the first time, like really coming alive in a tarot deck. And it's been a daily favorite ever since. And I thought once again when I got it that nope, it ain't gonna happen. And it just did. And then when I was at my Rider-Waite-Smith phase, I kept seeing this one clone deck, or it's not a clone, but Rider-Waite-Smith style deck everywhere. It was just everywhere, all over, you know, internet. This one deck, and I was like, bleh, I don't like it. It's everywhere. I don't like it. Why is everybody getting it? And then one day I was bored, and I was like, maybe I'll have to order it and see if it will work. And surprisingly, it did. And it's the mass market of light seers. And it's way too pretty. Sorry today, by the way, the picture quality. I don't have my good camera. It's at the cottage, so I'm just filming with the laptop camera. But you know, we've all seen this deck in so many places. But still, I loved it. And it kind of bugs me because I was expecting to really hate it and not use it at all. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna check it out. But again, those decks that I have the biggest resistance against in the beginning end up being such favorites. And you know, even this is the mass market version. I've never touched the indie version, but even the shuffle in this one, I just love it. And even though I have quite an amount of rare decks, unique decks, vintage decks, whatever, still this mass market that I didn't expect to like has become such a favorite. And as you can see, what happens with my favorite decks, they get to live in a fancy house, and this Light Seers gets to live in my Kelly pouch, so made by the lovely Kelly Beer, which we are quite unhappy here in Europe that because of Brexit we are not getting these right now. Issues. Oh, the finances and politics in the world. But yes, all the favorites get fancy houses, like the Shimmer and Veil. This is a hex couture. It's a finished handmade deck case, as is this one for the Toth. It's made by Hex Couture also. And then, of course, my new Marseille got to move. This deck has housed several decks. You know, it's like a rental apartment. People move in, people move out, so do the decks. But ever since I got my Piatnik, I've kept it here. And since I did it with the incense stick, the dragon blood, I think this makes all the difference, because the deck, it smells so good. It always smells the same, even whenever I take it in my hands. So one thing to make a deck special, feel special, you might want to try to give it a nice home and an incense stick. It kind of creates more sensory experiences around the deck. And even though this is a mass market deck, it was like 20 euros, and I thought that I would just, you know, demolish it with my deck mod, which I got inspiration from Manuela at Place of Stillness, because she really manhandled her Toth deck. like dipping it in water and putting it through fire with all the elements. And so Manuela inspired me, soaking this in tea and whatever. But eventually, I fell in love with this one too, like so fast. I just thought that it was just the deck mod and the fun project. But every reading I've done with this, they just make me happy. Every morning when I sit and drink my morning coffee, I sit with this deck, I shuffle it, I pull a few cards, and every morning it makes me happy in this peaceful conversation. It was funny, I was watching Anna at Astrolated Tarot's video one morning about, was it how does the tarot even work or something. I was drinking my morning coffee, shuffling this deck. Yeah, how does it even work? But it does, and it makes us happy. I know it does make other people happy, not only me. But it's so surprising that you never know what deck it ends up like really being the real favorite. I know we all get excited about a new toy for a while. I've done that many times. But then, after a year or a longer period, at least I get to see what are the super favorites and what surprises me the most. And it was the really messy looking, I don't know if you can see it well, but really messy line work, a really messy Marseille deck. Like, it's kind of dorky in a way. Look at the hermit. He ain't really pretty, but I love this deck. It's just beautiful pulp mess. I don't know, kind of fits the current mood. So I guess that was just my short little video of talking about the decks that have surprised me the most. Turned up from yeah to like true loves. I don't know why is it always the ones that I least expect that to happen, because I've gotten a lot of decks, like indie decks and whatever, that I thought that this is gonna be the thing, and first they are for 5 minutes, and then I just kind of forget them into the shelf. But then there are these ones that just keep being there every day. These are the companions with my morning coffee that they speak so much, but no voice is coming out because I really don't like to talk with anybody before I've had my big mug of coffee. After that, I'm good. But before that, I can only talk with tarot. But what about you guys? Do you have any decks that have really surprised you, that you first thought that you would hate and then you would end up loving, like on top of everything? Because at least that happened for me. And my Rider-Waite-Smith decks, I barely use them ever. That happened to me. And the decks that I never thought that I would touch, even with a stick, they are here. Let me know, what are your surprisers? Until next time. Bye guys.